Good evening and good night and welcome to the It's Your Perspective Talk Show. It is Thursday, June 4th, 2015. My name is David, aka Kimba. There's no long side tonight. Soup's on special assignment. He'll be back soon. This is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. until. Hit us up on our website, streaming live from the VI.com. You got to go to the website to check out our show. We also have email, streaming live from the VI at yahoo.com. You can also reach us at 340-201-9005. If you're too scared to call, just give us a text. You can also send us an email as well. Or most importantly, you can hit us up through Facebook. Hit us up on our two Facebook pages. It's Your Perspective Talk Show. And one for our website, streaming live from the VI.com. We do have a special guest in the studio tonight. There he is right there, Arthur Gary James. He is back. He's a local Virgin Islands author, and we'll be right back with him. Just want to mention a few more things here. This is we are streaming actually from the high-tech, low-tech studio here in St. Croix, Virgin Islands. No radio, no TV, internet only. We don't have a call sign or a radio frequency. You have to get online. You can use your smartphone. You can use your iPad. You can use your browser in your Mac or your Windows PC. Just open up your browser, go to streaminglive.vi.com. Click on the tab that says Watch Us Live, and guess what? You'll see us live. What else we got? All recorded shows are on YouTube and Ustream.tv. Check out our channel, It's Your Perspective Talk Show. And you'll be able to see all our shows just right there. I want to give a super shout out to CHS class of 1982. That's the class that I represent here. Super represents it as well, sort of as Wasi Keith Edwards. Big ups to Vanessa of Rhythms and I-Grade Records, and Julie and Cherise King. And most importantly to all our past guests, thanks for being on our show. You can reach us on Twitter tonight as well. Tweet with us at VI Perspective. We're moving straight forward and up. The show's mission is to simply entertain, inform, and empower everyone. And as everyone knows, Soup blesses the show with the poem. Hopefully he'll be calling in tonight. I don't have a poem, so I'm just going to move on from there. Just want to make a couple mentions here real quick that hurricane season has started. It is in full effect, so go ahead and start preparing yourself. Extra batteries, extra dry goods, extra medicine, make copies of your documents. It's the whole 9 yards. Just make extra copies of everything. Get a little bit more water, a little bit more Pampers, whatever you need to sustain yourself for 2, 3, 4, 5 days if something should happen. Past guest this week, Abel Bakar. Thank you for coming out and being on our show. Also, last night we had the Beauty for Ashes trauma symposium team that was here. Dr. Dora Hamilton, Dr. draw a blank, but I forget her name. And then Anselma John Ayala. They were here last night talking about trauma, and they have a grant through, I guess, the governor's office to provide a service for individuals that may be struggling with some kind of trauma. Something might have happened to them early on in life, and they want to help. So reach out to them the best way you know how to. I also want to make a quick mention too that we had since Soup is on special assignment, we've had a couple special co-hosts. We had Audrey Brown that was here last night, and then we had Keith Wasai Edwards. He was here as well for a couple of shows there and last week as well. So moving on here, our guest tonight is Arthur Gary James. There he is right there. Thanks for coming out again. And Gary, you were our first guest when we started April of 2014. And he has been just doing this segment. And just want to say thank you for coming out and helping us out.
You're welcome, my brother. It continues to be my pleasure. We got one more show after tonight, which will end my initial commitment to work with you guys. But I'm looking forward to the next dispensation.
Okay, coming soon?
Definitely coming soon. This is the 13th edition of Conversations with Gary James here on It's Your Perspective talk show. And as I said, we have one more show to do, which completes my 14 show commitment. But I plan to return in the fall after a brief hiatus where I'll get the opportunity to visit the States and focus on marketing my latest release, Black Politics 2.0. So you can look forward to perhaps hearing me on local radio, because I will be doing some radio shows introducing myself and my books. So stay tuned. But of course, this past year has been very inspiring and quite an experience doing this show. And I'm looking forward to beginning our next dispensation. The next dispensation will deal with or focus on particular subject areas as well as current events in the world as they unfold. But particular subject areas include the religions of Abraham, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, which we've introduced during many conversations. And in fact, we introduced the database for public consumption of the Balthazar Monastery, which will be the basis of a number of conversations going forward, because as many of you suspect, events in the Middle East, and particularly the religious component, will likely be the center of conversations and international events for the foreseeable future. But apart from the religion component that will be, part of our subject matter, we will explore American and African American electoral politics, which is timely because, as you know, in 2016, locally here in the VI, we'll be having the next legislative election, and on the mainland, we of course will have a presidential election, which is beginning to percolate as we speak. So we will have conversations in that particular area, and we will introduce our database on the next show, the 14th show, in that regard. And also we will introduce two more project areas. One, or the next one, the third, would be expanding the soundbite culture. And many of us are inundated with the soundbite culture, but some of us realize that the soundbite culture might have a tendency of dumbing down the public in general, and apart from the general soundbite culture, some of us believe that we need not a soundbite but a sound meal in order to satisfy or satiate our intellectual appetite. So with regard to expanding or satisfying our intellectual appetite, we will explore initiatives to expand the soundbite culture to a sound meal culture. And so we'll introduce our database initiative in that regard. And last but not least, we will discuss the business and entrepreneurial imperative, which is, as I said, last but not least, or not last but far from least, is the fact that our financing or economic capacity as a community is perhaps the weakest among other political minorities. And there is no discernible strategy in place that will move us from point A to point B. Therefore, we remain unable to finance or underwrite our own emancipation, liberation, political empowerment, or however you want to term that. But essentially, that is one of the components, the lack of business and entrepreneurial culture. That is one of the problems, the perennial problems that we are plagued by. Perhaps it's a pathology that we are plagued with. But during the 14th show, I will introduce the various websites in those areas for public access and consumption. That will be the basis of future conversations when my producer brothers give me the okay to begin a second dispensation.
Whenever you're ready, man.
This fall. Well, I gotta rest. I gotta
take a break.
I gotta take a break because you guys have had me animated to the extent that there were a few things I needed to take care of.
Yes.
That I neglected, and so I'm going to take this opportunity.
It's like summer break.
Yeah, well, you could call it that.
Summer break, yeah.
Because it is appropriately the summer.
Summer, yeah.
You know, but I will certainly be thinking about my experience and the going forward process.
The next step.
Yeah. That we will engage. But the websites that I'll introduce during the 14th edition, we term them as a pre-launch of the sites, and they're a work in progress. But we're sharing them in the pre-launch stage and call them what they are as being in the process of becoming. But we want to share that process of becoming with you. So we will introduce it in the pre-launch stage. But each of the initiatives have their own official launch date. And as I mentioned, because of the political nature of 2016 in the VI and the states, the political initiative will be introduced at that point. In fact, I could share with you the name or the concept that will be the initiative, and that is a political information clearinghouse initiative, which is focused on American and African American politics, electoral politics. And as I said, it may be relevant because the immediate future vis-a-vis 2016 provide those election activities for both local politics and statewide politics. Hence the official launching of the Political Information Clearinghouse is January of 2016. But between now and then, the site will be under development, and we will be uploading various content and components associated with site development. Once we get the required information uploaded, we will introduce a professional designer to take the site further. Okay. So it could be interactive, because we want the site to be interactive. And so we're going to deal with the professional and technical aspects
of making it interactive.
Interactive. So, but I'm particularly inspired by the prospects associated with this initiative, the Political Information Clearinghouse, because I have a colorful career as a political organizer and consultant in the States. And with my new residence here on the Big Island of St. Croix, I'm personally entertaining a new political dispensation as a voter in the VI, as opposed to continuing to vote in mainland United States and presidential elections in particular. I decided to be an informed voter in the Virgin Islands and forfeit my vote in the presidential elections, because my vote in the VI is much more consequential than my vote in the U.S. at this point. So as a practical matter, my vote in the VI has a greater impact and importance than my vote in the States for the president and local politics. But apart from the practical application of voting where I reside, I have an organic relationship with the future of St. Croix and the Virgin Islands because of my roots and the respect that I have for my ancestors. What I've learned since I relocated a few years ago is that my great-great-grandfather, Johannes James, was born into slavery in 1825 and lived on Estate Hermitage and worked as a cooper there. And interestingly enough, his parents, my great-great-great-grandparents, Adam and Helena James, lived on the estate as well, and they were recent arrivals from Africa. So my DNA was established in the Western Hemisphere by these folks, and their spirit remains locally, and I had the opportunity of encountering that spirit, and it was deep. But interestingly enough, the state of African American electoral politics on the mainland and the state of electoral politics in the Virgin Islands are remarkably similar. The political parties, Democrats and Republicans in the Virgin Islands, in fact, mimic their party counterparts in the United States. And moreover, the quality of African American political leadership in the VI and the mainland mirror each other. The political similarities between the two present a conundrum and paradox, because on the one hand, the black community on the mainland is 17% of the population, a clear minority group, while on the other hand, blacks constitute 90% of the population in the VI, which is an overwhelming majority. Yet, the politics and quality of the politics remains the same between the two, and I find that very interesting and instructive. Therefore, my extensive political experience on mainland America, in conjunction with my unfolding experience as a current resident of the VI, offers an intriguing learning curve that I have engaged. And after 5+ years as a student of VI politics and history, I've learned enough to appreciate the nature of local politics, and I exercise my local responsibility as an informed citizen and voter, and continue to observe local political personalities and learn from unfolding political events in the VI, which are intriguing as well, to put it mildly. And on the other hand, I've reconciled the remote nature of my future participation in mainland American politics, and I continue to participate within organizational structures and relationships. The initiative that we introduced by way of a website embodies, as I mentioned, a political information clearinghouse initiative, which focuses on a target area that includes the Virgin Islands and New York, respecting the historical symbiosis between the two venues, the VI and New York. The Great Migration from the VI to New York in the early 1920s facilitated the contribution of Virgin Islanders as a vanguard movement for the storied Harlem Renaissance, political, cultural, and intellectual advancement in New York, particularly in the United States in general. Personalities such as Herbert Harrison, Rothschild Francis, and Caspar Holstein represent an example of legions of men and women from the former Danish West Indies, now known to us as the Virgin Islands of the United States since 1917. But many great Virgin Islanders contributed significantly to the advancement of New York and the United States, and in fact, the world. And I want to briefly digress on Caspar Holstein, as he was an enigmatic and legendary personality in both New York City and the Virgin Islands history. Born in Christiansted, St. Croix in 1876, Mr. Holstein's manifold contributions to the advancement of African Americans in the Virgin Islands and New York are a profound aggregation. As a perennial student of history in general, and African American history in particular, I came across the name Caspar Holstein during my early 20s in New York City. But a full picture of the Holstein enigma began to emerge after I relocated to the Big Island 40 years subsequent. I always had an abiding curiosity about phenomena in general, and during my 20s, I asked a friend who I knew was a number runner from time to time, what was the origin of numbers? I was curious about numbers, or the numbers game, from the time that I was a little boy, as to how the numbers gambling game came about. Virtually in every neighborhood that I visited in the United States, there was a group of people that operated the numbers, while many residents were players of the numbers. So the numbers industry was the primary employer in the black community around the country, at least in the ghettos. And the number runner and hustler, as they were also called, was the obvious entrepreneurial archetype in the black American community. But the numbers game constituted the backbone of the informal economy in America's black and Hispanic communities, and the respective levels of entrepreneurs that operated the numbers became a well-respected component that helped to maintain the economic stability of the black community in particular. And during traditional holidays such as Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter, and even at times when residents needed loans, for example, members of the community could count on these people as informal institutions and benefactors that entertain the needs of the community as well as personal needs. In many cases, they were benefactors. To make a long story short, my friend informed me that numbers were invented by a West Indian dude whose name he didn't know. He was informed of this by his father, who was a numbers banker in Harlem during the 40s. Numbers gambling was allegedly invented by a West Indian dude, was the extent of my information until I posed that question to a mentor of mine, affectionately called Coach. Coach was 14 years my senior, and Coach enjoyed a colorful life over the years in the formal as well as informal economy and lifestyle in Harlem. When Coach responded to my question as to who invented the numbers game, he showed me a picture of his uncle, who was dressed as sharp as a tack, supporting a broad smile and a posture befitting a man of affairs. Coach relieved his own broad smile, then remarked that his uncle was an associate of Caspar Holstein, the inventor of nigger pool, quote unquote. I shortly thereafter relocated to St. Croix in November of 2009, the birthplace of my beloved father. And in the course of my research at Wim Museum, I learned much about my roots, heretofore unknown to me. And I also learned about a local hero such as David Hamilton Jackson, and that Caspar Holstein is a son of St. Croix, whose local legacy is legendary. The next time I visited my friends and associates in New York City, I was pleased to inform them that Holstein was a native of St. Croix and had an incomparable storyline as a philanthropist, local hero, and a close associate of his brother-in-law, David Hamilton Jackson. I continued my presentation with the fact that there is a road named after Caspar Holstein, vis-a-vis Caspar Holstein Drive in St. Croix. Coach was riveted to the news, and he showed me a book that he was reading entitled Nigger Pool, quote unquote, the numbers game in the United States between the wars. And that book confirmed that Caspar Holstein is the inventor of numbers. The title and the author are mentioned on the website, which of course will be disclosed next week when I share the website. So I'll leave Casper Holstein there and simply observe that the legacy of Mr. Holstein in the Virgin Islands and New York City is remarkable, and that he's an inspiration that embodies our efforts in formulating the Political Information Clearinghouse Initiative. And I was particularly struck by this information because in relocating here on the Big Island, I noticed how often Casper Holstein's name comes up. And often, too often, when his name comes up in the category of his various contributions as a philanthropist and confidant of D. Hamilton Jackson and financier and underwriter of many honorable projects. When folk refer to his vocation, they refer to him and their voice dims, and they said he was a bookie. So casting a little aspersion on the fact that he was a bookie according to the conventional wisdom and popular information. But according to my information, he was no bookie. The brother invented the game. The inventor of numbers. And numbers till this day remains the backbone of many black communities around the country. And at that time, numbers was perhaps the largest or one of the largest employers of black folk in the country. And it provided a basis for stability within black communities. So he wasn't no bookie like other bookies. He developed the genre. And in fact, from what I was able to research in this particular book, which I make available, is the fact that Casper Holstein was ultimately kidnapped by the mob, by organized crime, who required a ransom for them to cut him loose, which they did. But interestingly enough, it was the mob and organized crime who eventually took over the numbers industry because it was a lucrative enterprise. But Casper Holstein, from the standpoint of New York history and his history in New York that I have run across and will make available vis-a-vis this night, this website, confirms that he was no mere bookie. You know, he was a macro mind who invented nigger pool. And they called it nigger pool because it wasn't nothing. But as soon as nigger pool started making some serious bread and inroads around the country, it became a serious market that organized crime wanted to control.
To get
and ultimately, that is what they did. So we will share that website on our final show next time. And we will, of course, share 2 other websites that deal with other important project areas. The other website would be expanding the soundbite culture. And the final website will be dealing with business and entrepreneurial imperative. Now, expanding the soundbite culture website focuses on the need for a soundbite, a sound meal to satisfy our intellectual appetite in the 21st century in particular. We require a full course meal so we could understand what is going on in the world. We can't understand things with these convenient sound bites that are glib, but they don't get beyond the surface. So the sound bites are entertaining, and you might be able to do a commercial or get on TV, but the bottom line is it won't take you from point A to point B, and it just relegates you to consumerism, operating trivia. So we observe that the prevailing soundbite culture in the media and social media require complementary venues that explore and examine popular sound bites, including conventional concepts and ideas. For example, the soundbite concept, quote unquote, politically correct, may need to be expanded to a sound meal culture, and the sound bite or the concept would be political correction. So it's not about being politically correct, because that doesn't get us anywhere. It doesn't uncover anything. It perpetuates that which is the same. So we need not a politically correct disposition. We need a political correction disposition. And so we believe a sound meal culture is propitious for us to get involved in vis-a-vis a sound meal website that we will feature as an initiative. And the final piece is the business entrepreneurial imperative. That initiative explores the economic dynamic and the fact that due to the weakness of black business and entrepreneurial culture, the African American community in the United States and the Virgin Islands are not in a position to finance their respective political advancement. Additionally, not being able to employ ourselves and operate the economy in our community, these communities vis-a-vis passing the dollar remaining in the community, going through various business applications and entrepreneurial operations that we do, that we maintain, we are relegated to poverty. Therefore, African Americans, as a practical matter, must explore business and entrepreneurial options in addition to traditional employment and wage earner careers singularly. Accordingly, we will offer a website to feature relevant information and applications in that regard, business and entrepreneurial imperative. So my brother, we're going to leave it there
Okay.
tonight and look forward to our final show,
Which is going to be on June 18th.
June 18th.
Exactly 2 weeks from today.
Very good.
Yeah, June 18th will be his final segment of the first component.
Absolutely, we'll go for that. We'll go with that.
Go with that, and then he's going to take a quick break, summer break, and he's going to be back, I guess, in April, September, with some new stuff.
Yes, around September.
Okay.
It will be dealing. It will be some new stuff.
Okay.
We'll leave it as that.
Okay.
But it'll focus on those 4 areas.
Yes.
That we discussed, as well as current events.
Okay. Okay. All right. So our guest tonight is author Gary James. Black Politics 2.0. His conversation continues. He just completed part 13, segment 13 of his 14-segment series. He'll be back June 18th at 8 p.m. To finish up. He's going to take a quick break, summer break, and then he'll be back sometime September to continue on with some similar but different kinds of stuff. And as always, we want to thank Gary James for coming in here roughly every other week. I know some points there was a little longer, but we're making our way through it. And I always want to say thank you. He was our first guest, and he is likes what we're doing here. And
thank you, my brother. I love what you guys are doing here, and there's nothing you could do about it.
Hey, man.
I'm gonna be hanging out with you.
Hey, man. Let's all hang together, you know.
Yeah, you put some great ideas and inspiration into what you're doing, and it has translated into what I'm doing.
Yes.
So I'm down with you, bro.
All right, man. Hey, that's what I like to hear, man. So in closing here, this is the It's Your Perspective talk show. It's about 8:50 p.m. on Thursday, June 4th, 2015. My name is David, a.k.a. Kimba, a.k.a. Christian. Alongside, our seat right there is empty. Mr. Rasoup Campbell Carter, he is on deep cover assignment. He'll be back soon. We'll be back soon. This is the It's Your Perspective talk show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. until. Just want to leave it at that. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back soon. All right? Peace.